Okay, the last thing we did, turn that gauge, was chase the 3/4 16 threads and the 7/8 14 threads. Okay, so that's step 12. So we'll go to, okay, we're ready to drill and tap those 7/16 20 threads. Spindle speed at 436. The tap drill for a 7/16 20 is 25/64, so we'll verify that with a pair of calipers. And we'll drill it about 1.25 inches deep. And we want to make sure, we don't want to clamp on our threads because you'll ruin your threads, because the threads have a sharp point, and if you start clamping on them hard enough to drill them, to drill a hole, you're going to harm them, and then the nuts won't go on. And that's how I check your threads, if those two nuts will go on there. So we don't want to clamp in a 3-job chuck on the thread tips. So we're going to clamp on that 15/16 diameter right there, and you can clamp it pretty hard because it takes quite a bit of force to force that drill into a piece of metal. So let's go to the lathe and drill that 25/64 hole. Okay, let's take our lathe dog off. We want to make sure we chuck up on the 15/16 diameter. You never want to clamp on your threads. All right. Got a 25/64 drill, which is 390 in diameter. This one actually says, sometimes they're hard to read, 25/64. Take our center drill out. We're done with that. Okay, we'll go to 436. Or 436 RPM. We don't need our tool post anymore right now. So get that out of the way. Now the center drilled hole that's in it, that's going to help line our drill up for drilling. That'll keep it concentric. Okay, so I want to tighten my tailstock down. Okay, 436 RPM. Gotta go 1.25 inches from the diameter of the drill. So the handle, every revolution of the handle on my tailstock moves my drill in 1/8 of an inch. So that's the full diameter of my drill. And I'm going to note the position of the handle in my tailstock. Every revolution, 125. So there's 1, 2. So that means I've gone 1/4 of an inch. 3. Keep a little oil on it. get the chip off. Well, I'm miscounting, so I'll start right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 eighths. 6 eighths is 3/4. 7 eighths. 1 inch. I've gone 1 inch. Well, I'll go 2 more revolutions to make them 3. Under 3 is 2, so that's 1.25 inches. For another revolution or so. Okay. That's not good. I went too far down on my spindle lever. Okay, I'm going to take my drill out. Put my 7/16 tap, 7/16 20 tap in there. Now, this tap has already had the designation rubbed off because we've been holding it in the chuck. So I'm just going to measure the OD of it across the threads. So it measures about 442. So I know that's a little bit over 7/16. Taps are a little bit bigger. Screws are a little bit smaller, so the screws will go in a tapped hole for clearance. Okay, this is how we tap in the lathe. Okay, with the tailstock loose. Oh, by the way, I want to. Let's see. Well, I need an oil brush. You always want to tap with cutting oil. So I want to turn my chuck by hand. So I'm gonna put my lathe in neutral to make that easy. Put some cutting oil in the tap drill hole. Now I move my tap in my tailstock, and as I'm turning with my left hand, I'm cranking the spindle with my left hand. Okay, this technique keeps your tap straight. So I can now you want to leave your tailstock loose while you're doing that. The tap will actually drag your tailstock in but maintaining the alignment of the tap. So I'm just going to turn it a few times. And now I can loosen my tap from my chuck. And now I can take it to a vise and turn that with a tap wrench. So let's do that. Okay, let's run the tap in a little bit further. Also, when you go to the vise, you do not want to clamp on your thread. Just clamp on that 15/16 diameter. All right, here's our tap wrench. It's square, and the end of the tap is square, so that'll drive it. Okay, always use cutting oil on your tap. Always. Whether you're tapping aluminum or steel. sure beats the technique we use to get the tap straight in the lathe. Sure beats trying to do it like we did the hammer handle, which is using a periscope technique. But okay, that's sort of getting hard right there, so we're going to stop. That's plenty deep enough. Okay. So we'll get the air, we'll get some compressed air and blow all those chips out, and then we'll eventually polish this 15/16 diameter along with our taper. Okay, now we're finished with it. So in the next video, we'll cut that off and then put it in the lathe, clamp up on this diameter, 15/16 diameter, and face that off, and we'll be done.